I would like to recognize our Board of Education members in attendance. President, Mrs. Anna Chapman, if you'll please stand or wave there. And member, Dr. Neil Postal, if you'll please stand and be recognized as well. I would also like to recognize a few others in attendance this evening. Please stand if you serve on the Hall of Fame Steering Committee. Thank you for your hard work in making this event possible. Please stand and be recognized. These are the individuals that give up of their time and effort to not only honor the individuals that we will be recognizing tonight, but they remind each and every one of us of how important our high school years were and what an impact it had on our lives in making us the individuals that we've become as professionals. It also reminds all of our staff, and this is a special thank you from me, it reminds all of our staff of how important they are in impacting not only the lives of the students, but the future of our society. Thank you. If you are a past inducted member of the Hall of Fame, please stand to be recognized. Do we have any past members? There we go. Thank you for being here and supporting our newest inductees this evening. At this time, I would like to introduce Mrs. Anna Chapman, President of the Board of Education, for some opening remarks.
Welcome, and thank you for coming this evening. I hope you enjoyed walking around this incredible high school and learning about how the new spaces create new learning opportunities for our students. We're delighted to have you here to participate and share in the induction of 7 outstanding members of our Berea City School District family into the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. Our district works to live up to our motto every day, a community of excellence, integrity, and purpose. Our vision speaks to our district being a diverse community dedicated to inspiring lives of character, learning, leadership, and service. The people being honored tonight demonstrate these qualities well and have continued to make their alma maters and district proud long after they left the halls of our schools. Thank you to Craig, Keith, Tim, James, Leroy, Chuck, and Richard for being excellent examples for our students and our community of what hard work, passion, and dedication in their careers and in service to others can accomplish. I hope you enjoyed your time spent together tonight. Thank you and congratulations to all.
At this time, I'd also like to ask Mrs. Wheeler, our superintendent, to please share some remarks with us.
Before I want to get started, I want to give a big round of applause to Vince. I did call him last night late and asked him if he could fill in tonight, and graciously he did that, probably not much to the chagrin of his significant other at home. So again, I want to thank Vince publicly for taking the time to be here tonight and sharing this event with us. So thank you. So good evening. And thank you for coming to the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. It's been a couple years since we've been able to hold this event. And as superintendent of the Berea City Schools in my 3rd year, I'm excited to be here as this is my first time experiencing this event. We have wonderful people being recognized this evening, and we are thankful for this great opportunity to listen and hear incredible stories about the things that have happened in the lives of our inductees. On behalf of the school district, we are inspired by those that are being recognized tonight. We are honored and we are proud. We appreciate everything that you have done and your willingness to be here with us this evening. We have people that have traveled from out of town, out of state to be inducted, and also those who have traveled just to be here to support our inductees. We are all here tonight because we are truly proud of this school district. Congratulations to all of our inductees and enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Wheeler. And so we will begin the induction ceremony. Each honoree will be introduced by a student presenter, after which we ask the honoree to come up and receive his or her plaque from the presenter in front of the podium, so our photographer can capture the moment. Then the inductee will have a few minutes to share some thoughts, and I will then introduce the next presenter. Actually, we're actually going to call up the student presenter and the honoree at the same time because, as you can see, it takes a few minutes or some time to walk up here. We have an incredible, bright group of student presenters this evening. These remarkable students may one day find themselves, and speaking with them for just a short time before, I think they will, being inducted into the Hall of Fame one day themselves. Our first student presenter is Nicole Huang. Nicole is a junior. Please step forward, Nicole, along with Mr. Craig Adams, who will be inducted this evening. If you can step up onto the stage. And as they're walking up, I'll introduce Nicole. Nicole is a junior in Key Club, Student Council, Pride and SAD. She's a class executive in National Honor Society, World Language Honor Society, and is a Link Crew leader. She also is a member of the orchestra, the high school orchestra, track team, and cross country. She has been achieved magna cum laude, is an honor roll recipient, and is a President's Education Award recipient. She volunteers at the Berea Historical Society and is a camp counselor for the North End Foundation for their summer science camp. Please welcome Nicole.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Huang, and I am a junior at Berea Mid-Park High School. When I found out that I was given the opportunity to induct Mr. Craig Adams, I was motivated to research ways to become successful. According to Indeed.com, here are 10 tips to become successful and achieve what you want in life. 1. Be committed. 2. Learn from the journey. 3. Have fun along the way. 4. Think positively. 5. Change your perspective. 6. Be honest with yourself. 7. Take away distractions. 8. Count on yourself. 9. Keep planning. And 8. Avoid getting burned out. After researching these informational tips and talking with Mr. Adams, I came to learn that his success did not stem from all the pieces of advice. Mr. Adams attended the Miami University and the University of Kentucky School of Dentistry in 1987. At the University of Kentucky, he was on a full academic scholarship, was in the top 10% all 4 years, and was voted by the faculty as top clinician at graduation. In 2016, he was recognized as one of the top dentistry doctors in Raleigh, North Carolina. Along with his many great achievements, he participated in and even led over 20 internal dental mission trips. Today, I had the pleasure of having lunch with Mr. Adams. I found out that his favorite feeling that stems from his job is seeing the pure joy on people's faces after they've completed their dentistry journey. Seeing the relief of pain leave his patients is one of his favorite things while performing his job. I learned that he did track, and this is something that we both shared interest in since I'm currently on the track team. We also bonded over having the same type of learning mindset where we like straight to the point answers, for example, math equations and chemistry formulas. Although chemistry isn't my strongest or most favorite subject, Mr. Adams and I both fond of the straight to the point answers that the class holds. In my time I shared with Mr. Adams, I learned a handful of useful life skills and learn different ways to become successful. So thank you, Mr. Adams, for giving me your time and giving me a new mindset on my academic career. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I wish to present this plaque on behalf of the Berea City School District to Mr. Craig Adams, a distinguished honorary alumnus of Mid-Park High School, to be officially inducted into the Berea Mid-Park High School Alumni Hall of Fame.
What advice would I give students now? I would say talk more to each other. Get off social media and really get to know one another in a much deeper fashion. Just get to know one another and talk, communicate. What school experiences led to my success? I was never the most talented or the smartest, but I always felt like I was not gonna let anybody outwork me. So, having had to work very hard for the successes that I achieved in life has been a good life lesson. What opportunities did I take advantage of? I worked hard to get in several dental schools out of state. And when I decided I was going to go to University of Kentucky, College of Dentistry, my dad got transferred back to Kentucky. And they were kind enough to move me from out of state to in-state tuition. And that helped me tremendously as far as how to pay for my education. What experiences in my career have inspired me to achieve success? I think the gratification of working with families in my profession with dentistry for 35 years, making changes in people's lives, whether it be getting them out of pain or complete smile makeover, seeing the self-esteem skyrocket. But more than anything else, it's the relationships that I've been able to enjoy and that endeared over 35 years with my patients' families, my staff. So it's those relationships. How did I find my passion? You know, I was one of those kids, young adults, that actually listened to my dad and actually listened to my coach. And my dad always thought that dentistry was going to be a good profession for me. And I listened to him. He was an engineer. And, you know, a lot of times we don't want to listen to the people who are people of authority in our lives. And I think that might be a mistake for a lot of youth today. I think that one of the best things I made was listening to my father, listen to his direction. I think one of the biggest things that people, and I don't mean this in a negative way towards your generation, I think there's been such a reliance on not talking to people, social media, texting. You know, you guys already had that in your lives, and then COVID hit for 2 years, and I think it kind of made communication even less. You know, people became less social. And I think we always focus on intellectual intelligence and talents, which is great. But I think far too often what is missed is the gift of being able to interact and achieve great, meaningful relationships with people, because it's only the combination of the two, the blend of IQ and EQ, that makes people successful. If you have one or the other, it's not going to work. You got to have both if you're going to be successful in this world. And I would advise and suggest that people in your generation and as a whole, and I'm not pointing at you directly, but so much of the interpersonal communication and the gifts of really knowing people has been lost. And I think that needs to be regained. And I think that if that happens, I think we see richer lives. I think we see less hate. I think we see less violence. And I think we see families that stick together and that are richer. So I believe the one message that I want to bring tonight is the interpersonal relationships that you develop, move forward in your young adult lives, and everybody here, they're going to be so important. So don't just focus on the intellectual growth. Focus on your ability to communicate and interact with people. Thank you for this wonderful honor. I tell you, a couple observations. I've only been back here in town for about 24 hours, but a couple of things really strike me. I want to share these with some of you people. There is an incredible sense of community around here, and it's really wonderful to feel. You guys are all part of this, and it's very, very healthy. And what you've achieved here by bringing two schools together that didn't much care for each other, but now live together in a very happy, copacetic, moving forward, it's wonderful. I mean, it just takes a lot of wonderful leadership and vision to do what you guys have done. And this is really an impressive facility. I know my kids were not in high school, my older ones not too long ago, and every parent wants to give their kids the opportunity for the best education. And one of the things that I told my kids and tell little B is that, education is something that nobody can ever take away from you. And the opportunity to earn a good education and work hard with people that you love and admire and in your community, that's a true gift. And you guys are giving these young people this gift, so you ought to be very well commended for this. I had a few things to say today, but I think I'm going to ad-lib a little bit from there. You know, when I was growing up in Middleburg Heights and I was going to school in Mid-Park, we just moved here from Kentucky. It was a new beginning for me. And it was a really good new beginning because I had something called osteoarthritis disease. I wore braces on my legs, and I was in Kentucky, and I walked, well, peg-legged for 2 years. And I was the victim of a lot of abuse, and kids were not so nice. And so when I got here and I had a new beginning, and I started to play sports, and I started to excel a little bit, and the girls actually paid attention to me. I was kind of in shock, to be honest with you. And then I made the basketball team and Coach Finnegar, you know, and I've told Coach Finnegar this many times to his face, and he knows I mean it because I love him, but there were 3 men in my life that were inspirational. And I think a lot of us share the first one, Father God. The second one is my biological father, Quan Adams, and he's deceased now. This August will be 21 years. And the other man that was an inspiration in my life as far as leadership and taught me a lot was Coach Finnegar. And you guys know him. Everybody knows Coach Finnegar and Jim. And anyway, I would like to give a lot of thanks and a shout out to Coach Finnegar, and I know you guys would too. Could you join me, please? What I was going to talk about, and I thought we were going to have more students here, but we talked about this a little bit today. You know, school teaches you a lot about intellectual IQ. Everybody knows about IQ, intellectual quotient, and or intelligence quotient, and which is great. We need that. We need that basis of knowledge, and we need to know how to learn and reason. And for me, from Mid-Park, I went to Miami, Ohio undergrad. I chose to go to dental school at University of Kentucky, which was my first choice. And so, you know, as you walk up the hierarchy of education, you really focus in on your career. Sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't. In dentistry, you use it or you don't. I use it every day for 35 years. And I'm lucky because I love what I do and I'm good at it for the most part. And I have the enjoyment out of generations, as we talked about today, of relationships. But the point I wanted to make was the intellect that we develop going to school is so important. But what doesn't get talked about, the equally important aspect of development as a leader and the people that want to be around is the emotional quotient. What is your emotional health? And I can tell you, as a male, I'm a slow learner. And it's taken me a long time. And sometimes I still feel like a 12-year-old, okay? But the ability to interact with people, to engage, and to have people move forward because they enjoy being around you is huge. So I just did a little bit of research and wanted to write a couple tidbits down. And I believe that the best leaders and successful people, and I think you're going to see this common thread, everybody up here tonight, have 2 things in common. They have a very healthy mix of competence, warmth, and charisma. And if you have those things together, you will succeed at an extremely high level if you have the drive and determination. And I'll guarantee you that the people you see up there tonight all have this common thread. So there's a lot of self-awareness and growth. I think one of the things that I observed early in my professional career is you don't ever stop being a student. And if you do, then the world's going to pass you by. And for me, just the term of mediocrity I just can't stand it. And so one of the things Coach Finnegar taught me was, and he knew this, he'll tell you, I was never the most talented person on the basketball court, the football court, or definitely on the track field, but I was not going to be outworked. Now, does that mean I always came up on top? No. But these kids today, there's really no secret sauce to success. There's no elevator. There's stairs, and you got to take the stairs and work hard. And if you do that with compassion and integrity, and you develop that good blend between competence and warmth, and people want to be around you, you're going to be successful. You know, just think about it. I'm a doctor, right? You guys all go to the doctor. I don't care if the dentist, the orthopedist, the neurologist, whatever it may be. You come home and talk to your wife, and you say two things. You know, honey, I really like this guy. He really seemed engaged. He really seemed to understand what my issues were. Or you come home and you say, you know what? I'm sure this guy's really bright, but he just seems so aloof. I just don't want him to take care of me. Well, if you have one, the intellect, or if you have the charisma, those alone are not going to do it. You got to be able to blend those things. And so the best caretakers, the best leaders, the best teachers, the best of everything that we love in this world as far as individuals have that blend. They have the blend of competence and intellect and charisma. You know what I'm talking about. And that is part of what's made me successful in my career, is because I'm an extrovert and I enjoy that. I get up and enjoy being able to interact with people. And I can promise you, when you look at the vein of the successful people here today, they've all got their passion for what they do, love it, and they're good at it. But you know what else? They got really high EQs. They do well interacting with people. I've only met Tim for a few hours. I can tell you what, that guy's got it going on. I don't want to be in his team. So anyway, those are just some of my thoughts. But thanks for this great honor. I appreciate having me here, and I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say. Thanks so much.
May I ask Mr. Keith Burr and Miriam Myers to please come up to the stage. Our next student presenter is Miriam Myers. Miriam is a junior involved in cross country as a captain and participates in track and field. Miriam is a Link crew leader, student ambassador, and serves on the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council. She is a Hobie representative involved in RYP, SALT, National Honor Society, and was recently a Camp My Broby counselor. She has achieved magna cum laude, student of the quarter, and a varsity letter in track. Outside of school, Miriam is involved with the Mayor's Youth Development Program, volunteer and charity work, and has received academic awards given by her church. Please welcome Miriam.
I'm sorry. Good evening. My name is Miriam Myers, and I am a junior here at Berea Park High School. What is the definition of success? The Oxford definition of successful is the fact that you have achieved something that you want and have been trying to do or get. However, everyone's version of success is different. It all depends on the path that a person wants and has to take. But at the end of the day, success should make you happy. The man I am honored to speak on tonight is the true version of successful. Keith Burr is a graduate from Berea High School, class of 1972. Mr. Burr is an international advertising, commercial, and fine art photographer. He lives in his modernistic live work studio compound in Cleveland's Asiatown with his wonderful wife, Linda, who works behind the scenes. Mr. Burr is the owner and principal photographer of Keith Burr Productions Incorporated since 1984 to present day. Through his work, Mr. Burr has worked with companies like AT&T, Verizon, Liberty Mutual, Burger King, McDonald's, Cleveland Clinic, and many more. He was given the honor of being the best ASMP Top 20 Photographers internationally in 2011. He was also featured in People magazine for his work photographing children with cancer in 2008. In 2018, Mr. Burr was selected to speak in an exhibit in Sharjah of the United Arab Emirates at the Exposure International Photo Exposition, along with 30 other internationally acclaimed photographers. Through this, he, along with other photographers, demonstrated how photography can create a positive change in our world through awareness. From 2012 to 2020, he worked on his personal project, Save the Salt, which addressed the preservation of the Bonneville Saw Flats. This project has earned him numerous National Addy Awards. Even though I do not want to go into the fine field Mr. Burr went into, like him, I want to do something I love while still making money and be able to help and reach out to others through my work. Keith Burr has traveled around the world doing what he loves, having fun, and still making money. He works with people of all ages and really knows how to make someone smile. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I wish to present the plaque on behalf of the Berea City School District to Mr. Keith Burr, a distinguished honorary alumnus of Berea High School, to be officially inducted into the Berea Mid-Park High School Alumni Hall of Fame.
You're too kind. You listen to people. Thank you. Hi, my name's Keith Burr. Went to Berea High School and graduated in the class of 1972. Advice to give students now would be find a passion in your life. Find something that you really can drill into and bring it home every night and be happy with what you're doing. And I found my passion here at Berea High School through my photography teacher, Joe Conium. And it's the reason I do what I do today, being a commercial photographer in advertising. Well, my school experiences that led to my current success would have been my high school photography teacher, Joe Conium, and he took me on a number of trips, but the thing he did was he put a camera into my hands, and it gave me the spark that made me pursue my career, and went out to school in Southern California and came back to Cleveland, my hometown, and continue to work here still today. That's a good question. What opportunities did I take advantage of? The school had a lot of different things going on at the time. We were back in the 70s there. So our opportunities for utilizing the services of the school was the darkroom, basically. You get a film camera in your hands, you go out there, you learn to talk to people, and that's what Joe was really good, my teacher was really good about, showing you how to interview people, how to get a contact with them, and create something in your photograph that resonates. And that's what I continue to do today. The experiences in my career that allow me to achieve my dreams is every day I have a different assignment. I get up in the morning and I need to create something. That's why I have a camera in my hand. Whether it's an iPhone, it's a tool. Any type of camera is great. But we go through every day, and it might be a client where I'm shooting a judge today, a federal judge, or I might be shooting a McDonald's TV commercial tomorrow, or brain surgery, or I'm off in the United Arab Emirates working with a nice display that we're putting on for the king. So every day is different, and every day I get up to thrive and go ahead and do what my career path has been, and it all came from this high school. How I found my passion was exactly this. I had a camera put into my hands. And I liked talking with people. I liked to photograph girls. That was the first thing. It was an opening of the door to be able to talk with people and relate. And I moved on from there and started photographing other people, and I mean everyone. Every time I could take a photograph of someone, it was just a new learning experience. Then you start to learn about light. And then light is what really makes a true photographer. You can have any tool in your hand, but if you can see the light, you can create a great photograph. Without Berea High School, I don't think that I would have chosen the career that I am in right now. And I really don't know what I'd be doing. I might have been working in a plant. I don't know. To get through school, my college, I ended up having to be a janitor. And that was great. Any way to make ends meet. It was any kind of job I could do to continue going on and moving forward in my career, which we do really well today and have a lot of fun every day doing it. This young lady is something else. I mean, she listens to everything said. It's nice job, nice job. Short period of time we got to spend together, I filled her in and she did my entire talks, which is great. Thank you very much. I can just get off the stage right now, but I'm not going to. This is a totally unexpected honor for me, and I want to thank a number of people. I want to thank Lori Coffin. Where is she? Lori Coffin-Scriven, thank you very much. Sarah Lee Stein-White, thank you very much. 2 classmates that nominated me for this. I really want to thank Dennis Kushlak and Mariana Paris from the Alumni Association for putting this whole event together for all of us here. Thank you. As a youth, I lived in Berea, and I totally enjoyed this town. I've traveled all over the country, we've lived in different states, and we keep coming back to the North Coast. So Berea and the North Coast of Ohio that's our home, and this is where I really feel best in my life when I'm here. I want to say this, though, about the Berea High School. Without the Berea High School, I would never, ever have experienced what I do as a career. There was one teacher in particular, Joe Conium, who ran the photo class. And without Joe sparking my interest in the very beginning, I wouldn't have done what I did. I was working in factories and such, and I would have probably continued to do so. But Joe sparked that interest, and he took us up to Rochester. I looked at a school there. He recommended another school in Santa Barbara, California, and I ended up going to the water and did my graduation in the West Coast and had a great time out there, but came back to Berea to work for a lot of really cool clients here. When I got back here, I finally met a really beautiful woman. She's my partner, Linda, and we've been together 40 years now. Linda and I have developed a really unique live-work compound downtown Cleveland in Asiatown. We host a lot of different things there, fundraisers, educational events. We try to help people and organizations get together and share assets to promote the arts. So outside of our regular work, that's what we really like to focus on. And our clients, like you mentioned, it's a pretty broad range of clients. I mean, we'll do everything from TV commercials for McDonald's and billboard campaigns, and we work for university hospitals and the Cleveland Clinic, and we even fly to places like the Fiji Islands to work for resorts. We're all over the world doing the type of work that we do. But I'm involved with a number of different organizations too, and the organizations are what I really thrive to be because you're giving back to different people. I'm a member of the American Advertising Federation, which I've also been inducted into their Hall of Fame very honorably, and really that was incredible. I'm also a member of the ASMP, which is the American Society of Media Photographers. I sit on the local board here and on the regional board, national board, with their groups. If you can't give back to something that you've learned and gleaned from your career, then you're just not sharing, and sharing is what's so important to do, connecting the dots with people and making other people happy and aware of your work and how they can excel as well. Outside my day job, my real passion, though, is to donate and to work on different various projects. These are pro bono projects, and they're a lot of fun. You mentioned the Bonneville Saw Flats. This has been one of the biggest things. Lynn and I have been working on that for 13 years now. And the Bonneville Saw Flats is a place that, it's a national landmark. And it's been decimated through excessive mining and such. And it's 100,000 acres. It's been reduced from 8 foot in thickness down to about 3 inches in thickness. And it's gone to 30,000 acres. People from all over the world come to race their vehicles there and set land speed records. Movies are made there. It is one of the most unique places on the planet, and it should be on all of your bucket lists to visit. We've been working for the past 13 years creating an ad campaign that has been moving forward, and it's got us some international recognition. And we did go to Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. We were invited by the King of Sharjah to come with 30 other internationally acclaimed photographers, people from National Geographic, the Obama administration photographer, war photographers. And each of these photographers had developed and influenced the world through their artwork. So whatever you strive in doing, if you can influence people with what you do and make a change in the world, then you've done something really meaningful with your life. But the past 2 years, I'm going to get to this point real quick. I've been involved in another project, and it's really close to heart. Gary Croy and Dennis Kushlak and a lot of people in here are all friends of mine, and we've worked on the preservation and restoration of, well, what's known as the Tree of Knowledge. It was produced on a commission basis by CIA graduate Robert Fallouse. The Smithsonian Institute has recognized it as a national piece of artwork, and they refer to it as the Tree of Education. This piece of artwork has been in our school for 50 plus years, and it's coming back. My involvement's been really deep on this thing, and Mike Draves and Mike Slavachka set a team of high school students to find the tree a new location. And it's a great location. It's right outside of this hall. It's on the entrance to the new Arts Center here, and it's going to be a beautiful place for the tree, this incredible sculpture, to be living in the future. Finding the qualified people to restore the tree and make it what it was, and to have it installed properly. These are specialized people in the arts world. Our initial quotes were under $200,000, which is a lot of money. We've reworked those. I've negotiated with people, looked at other teams that are qualified restoration people for historic artworks, and we've gotten that price down to $88,000. Still a lot of money. The Alumni Association has graciously kicked in a lot of money and raised a lot of money, in which it totals out to about $27,000 now. At this point, we're left with about $61,000 to get the tree back up on our walls. The most exciting part of what's been going on recently, though, is Jim Brzezinski, who is an art class teacher here and a very talented man, has formed his dream team of high school students here, his art students. And we started working on the trees restoration this week. The kids are actually involved in this. And these artists are learning to assist in the preservation and restoration of historic artwork. So this is a real learning process. It's wonderful. Now, the Tree of Knowledge is a huge part of our region and our school's history, and it's something we need to get back with here. I've never been a fundraising guy, and this is difficult for me to ask, but I'm a connect kind of dots guy. I like to bring people together to create and fulfill projects that can make a difference in our world and our region. And right now, I'm connecting the dots, and we've got them connected. The Tree of Knowledge is coming back to our school, so I'm asking all of the alumni here, all of your friends, please involve yourselves. We've got it coming back here. We need your contacts, your businesses, and you personally to help out in bringing the tree back. This is tax-deductible donation. This is something that our corporations and our friends can help out a lot with this. And if you want to talk to me, I'm here. We've got cards out in the lobby here that you can pick up on it, but any help that you could do would be very much appreciated. And the next time you come by this school, you're going to see that tree back up on the wall there. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Congrats to my esteemed Alumni Hall of Fame friends, and it's a huge honor. Thank you very much for having me here tonight. Thank you. Do you want me to take this? Okay.
Presenting our next inductee is Emma Reardon. Emma is a senior and a student ambassador, a cross-country captain, show choir dance captain, National Honor Society president, and was recently in the cast of the musical Mary Poppins here at the high school last week. Emma is also a volunteer at Bethel Lutheran Church. Please welcome Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I have the honor of talking about Tim Conway today. So Tim is a graduate of Berea Mid-Park High School from the class of 1982. He has two wonderful daughters, Chandler and Miranda, with his longtime wife and high school sweetheart, Sherry. After spending the afternoon with Mr. Conway, I was able to further understand of what he has done throughout his life that has ultimately led him to this stage. After attending college, Tim's first job was at Centurior Energy, which is otherwise known as First Energy now. He conveyed his appreciation for this job, saying that it was known as the best job he ever left because of not only the environment it created, but the work being done. He, along with his peers that were exclusively engineers, were what we called the eyes and the ears of the operation. This love for problem solving and critical thinking only pushed Tim to do more, which was when he started his own engineering business. Over the years, Tim became known as a man that you could bring your problems to, and he would find a way to solve them. He always found a way to think outside the box. He's worked on projects anywhere from creating shipping containers for hazardous waste to coming up with the mechanics of recycling the scraps of products so that companies could get the most use of their resources. Tim's work also gave him the opportunity to travel a lot for his job. He has been all over China, Japan, and many countries throughout Europe, and has made an abundant amount of connections and friends along the way. During his years of traveling, he got interested in what goes behind flyings and the planes themselves, and went on to not only get his pilot's license, but also to the next level of requirements that he could fly not only in good weather, but in any weather. He then invested in a plane that he used not only for his own business use, but also to help those in need, whether it be volunteering his time and resources to help those with relief from natural disasters, or participating in the EAA program, where the chapter he belongs to has given over 40,000 kids their first plane ride. Throughout so much of Tim's life, he has worked hard and a lot to get where he is now. While much time and commitment has been made to bring Tim to where he is today, the beginning of his story is at Mid-Park High School, where he was adamant about his studies and the president of his school's National Honor Society, which coincidentally I am too. Tim is the type of person who makes others believe that with hard work, you can truly do whatever you put your mind to. As I graduate high school this year, I hope to take what I have learned from Tim and all of you here tonight and use it not only to improve myself, but improve the community like you all did. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I wish to present this plaque on behalf of the Berea City School District to Mr. Tim Conway, a distinguished honorary alumnus of Mid-Park High School, to be officially inducted into the Berea Mid-Park High School Alumni Hall of Fame.
The advice I would give the students is that, high school is a real important and formative time to try to understand what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and then try to get attracted towards those strengths. And come to class, pay attention every day, because it's going to affect your future. There's a lot of things that went into my school experiences that turned me into who I am today. A lot of leadership. I was president of the National Honor Society. I was president of the varsity club, involved in football and track, and all those things really made me the person that I am today and allowed me to work with people, work in groups, learn from other people, and tell me that you have to work hard to get ahead. The opportunities I took advantage of in high school is, as I had mentioned earlier, I tried to get involved in many, many aspects when I was in high school. I was in, of course, football, as I mentioned, and track. Participated in National Honor Society to be able to reach out to a lot of different people and get exposed to a lot of different people. But high school is a time to learn. And high school is a time to expand the people that you meet, the people that you work with, and understanding everybody's strengths and weaknesses. So that's one of the things that I took into life and from leaving the halls of Mid-Park High School. Well, I was driven in my career, number one, to solve problems. And I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, and I was drawn to problem solving. And so my career took me, fortunately, all over the world, solving a lot of complex problems. And most of them, you can't do a Google search and find the answer for them. So you have to step back, and you have to realize what the problem is. What's the final goal of the solution, and then follow systematically through the steps to that final conclusion. So I think it's a complex question. It's a very complex question, but those are the steps that help me achieve what I've achieved today. Starting with the very basics, collecting the information, and finding out what the end solution is, and then working it in between. Well, I set a goal early on that I wanted to do something that really interests me. And I built a company that had a straightforward products that we could sell every day, and then it had another branch of the company that was a problem-solving branch, and of course that's the most important. And that was my goal. That was my goal, is to build a company that could solve technical problems for people and customers. And fortunately for me, it was. I've been very successful at doing that.
Thank you, Emma. That was wonderful, and you paid real close attention at our lunch today. But we had a lot of spirited conversations, and her uncle did our senior prank, I believe, Gary Ramba, put the the Beetle into the smoking lounge back then. So we reconnected on that. So thank you very much. So it's hard to believe that it's been 40 years since I walked the halls of Mid-Park High School and starting this journey as an adult. I've always wondered why I was so blessed over these years. Yes, there was lots of hard work, life's trials and tribulations, joys and sadnesses. But through it all, I felt that deep down inside, that the principles that guided me on this path we call life were deep-seated. In 2017, the origin of these principles was solved, and I realized that my path through life was set long ago by a young 18-year-old high school senior with amazing foresight of the world in which we live. You may wonder, how did I come to this realization? Well, that 18-year-old high school senior just happened to be the 1950 Columbia High School salutatorian and was my mom, Joanna Conway. Upon her passing in September of 2017, we found in her files her salutatorian address, which 72 years later is not only relevant, but clearly acted as the guiding light for me to be standing before you. I would like to share some of this young lady's thoughts with you tonight. She says, "Youth is the most important factor in the future of our country and would gladly put forth a tremendous effort to have peace prevail throughout the world. Not just temporary world peace, but one which is long-standing, beautiful, free of wars, aggression, and dictators, where you can live a happy, successful life and leave behind for their children a security stronger than ever before known to man. One can feel that educated beings, we have accomplished a worthwhile job, not just something immaterial, but a job which will affect the lives of everyone throughout the world. The task is achieving and maintaining world peace." Amazing thoughts that should give us all pause and wonder what has changed over the last 72 years. But that young 18-year-old didn't stop there. She went on to address what she felt was one of the most serious problems facing Americans, the erosion of the family, saying, "We are forgetting that the all-important matters like marriage take time, consideration, and honest, complete thought. We're not being fair to ourselves when we plunge through life with our eyes closed. Also, there is that duty we are born, that is to be a good example for the younger generation. Not only marriages are being affected, but also the family circle. It is slowly being dissolved, and at night, families split, each member pursuing their own interests. Shouldn't there be a few evenings set aside for the preservation of the world's most precious institutions, the family?" As I look back at these guiding words, they have made me a better husband of 35 years and father. My wife Sherry and I met in the summer of my freshman year, and we have been at each other's side since then, through it all, raising two wonderful daughters, Chandler and Miranda, and now blessed with our first granddaughter, Isabel. Mom and Dad set the example that marriage is something that you work at, and family time is something to be cherished. This high school senior has now taken on world peace, the family union, and now she gives us the path forward, education. She says, "Now American youth is confronted with the problems of the world. In order to cope with it properly, they must be mentally capable. Education is the answer to that, and every day better educational facilities are being presented to us. It is our duty to take advantage of them. Only as educated people can we expect to gain peace. Throughout my life, this spirit has continued to guide me to never stop learning from the opportunities that life has to offer. So on behalf of my father, Richard Conway, and my entire family, which attended Mid-Park, Rick, the class of 75, Keith, 76, Karen, 77, Joan, 79, Mike, 80, myself, the class of 82, and Kathy, the class of 83. I want to thank you for this honor and for providing me the foundation to pursue the vision that was set in motion many years ago by that young senior blazing a path for future generations. And she leaves us with this closing statement. If we plant a good seed, feed and care for it properly and with diligence, someday it will grow into a beautiful, sturdy tree. But it takes time and effort. I stand before you as that sturdy tree she envisioned in 1950. Thank you.
Alex is a senior with plans to attend Baldwin Wallace University in the fall. He's involved in the marching band and is a member of the Boy Scouts, achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. He will be graduating cum laude and is a member of the National Honor Society. Please welcome Alex.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Alex. I'm a senior here. Today I'm going to be presenting Mr. Jim Gorsline. So from the time Mr. Gorsline was young, he was always a fantastic athlete and an outstanding student. He graduated from John Marshall High School in 1954 at the top 5% of his class, attaining a 3.75 GPA. He was also the National Honor Society and French Honor Society president at his time in high school. Through high school, he played basketball, baseball, and football. Even though many of you may know him for his time in basketball, he MVP'd in all three sports of football, basketball, and baseball. He was also known to be a great golfer. After high school, Jim attended Kent State University with a basketball scholarship and continued to still play both basketball and baseball. He soon became the captain of the basketball team, making his way to the Kent State Hall of Fame. He soon graduated from Kent State with a bachelor's degree in mathematics in 1958 and obtained his master's of education in 1962. After college, Jim taught math classes at Berea from 1958 to 1978. He also developed computer programming classes and wrote a textbook to teach some of the first computer language classes at Berea. This isn't all, however. Jim was also the coach of 3 sports at Berea. He coached basketball for 19 years, attaining over 700 victories. He also coached football for 4 years and golf for 8. Through all this time, he is the father of 2 amazing daughters and the grandfather of 6 amazing. Jim is also a very active member of the United Methodist Church here in Berea. Jim has shown great leadership and guidance throughout his influence as a coach, teacher, and a father. He's influenced many young men and women, much as myself, throughout the decades, which many still keep in touch today. Mr. Gorsline has influenced me through his strong determination and his ability and his can-do ability. Ever since he was young, he was always spotted on the Cleveland YMCA training his basketball skills, and he has shown a strong example on how to be kind and humble through the hard work and education he used to accomplish all of his feats in his life. Unfortunately, Mr. Gorsline was not able to attend today, but fortunately enough, I've had the honor of talking to Mrs. Marge Gorsline here today. So Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I wish to present this plaque on behalf of the Berea School District to Mrs. Gorsline on behalf of Mr. Jim Gorsline, as a distinguished alumnus to be officially inducted into the Berea School District Alumni Hall of Fame.
Josh, thank you. Alex, thank you very much. No, I'm not Jim Gorsline, but I'm related to him by marriage. And both of us, he especially, so regretful that he's not here with us tonight, but many times, as you know, health issues can disrupt our best laid plans. And so I will do my best to convey his remarks, which he wrote himself and put a great deal of time and effort into his thoughts, because this group is very special to him. And I can tell, as I sat here and listened to the other inductees, that he, as a teacher here in the system, has done his job well as all of his co-workers at the time. So I applaud the effort that they have put into producing such fine citizens for Berea. I want to offer my personal appreciation to our selection committee. I didn't know who all was on the committee and how Jim came by this honor, so now I do, and I do want to thank you for the selection of Jim. The face of the steering committee to me has been Christina, who's worked diligently, I know, with all of you over the past 2 years to bring this special celebration to fruition. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is the little extra. And Christina, you and your steering committee added that extra to make this an extraordinary evening. So thank you. And Alex, thank you for that excellent introduction. Appreciate it. Normally, I do not read when I talk to an audience, but these are Jim's thoughts, and so tonight I will read the words that he wanted to share with you. So bear with me as I read. And he starts out by saying, I am humbled and thankful for being selected for the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. Thank you to the selection committee, and a special thank you to Christina for making this honor a reality. In our lives, we are faced with many decisions and choices. I made the most important decision of my life when I chose a career in teaching mathematics and coaching basketball. That decision became a reality in 1958 when I was hired by the Berea City School District. I was on track as I had achieved a goal I had set as an early teenager. There's never been a day that I did not want to go to work. The people who surrounded me were instrumental in the many successes that we, as educators, achieved. Our support team consisted of the Board of Education, the administrative staff, the co-workers, the PTA, and the students. I also have to include our custodial staff. We knew them by name as they were a part of this well-run program. In other words, we were a team working together to ensure that each and every student reach their full potential. We can see that happen tonight. Bringing the computer into the classroom was a highlight in my career. That tells you how old I am. As department chair and member of a 3-person team, we were determined to begin offering computer programming classes. However, at that time, there was not a textbook available. We met the challenge, and I had the privilege of writing one on basic programming, which we used, and from which other computer courses would eventually evolve. I must say that coaching enhanced my love of teaching, not only in the classroom, but also in the athletic arena. We produce quality students, athletes, and citizens. many of whom I still hear from even today. Hearing from former students and athletes is the biggest reward in our profession. There is a wise saying, "To whom much is given, much is expected." And I sincerely hope that I did leave much in the halls, the classroom, and the gymnasium, and most importantly, in the lives of our students and our athletes. Again, thank you to all who made this special honor possible. I am humbled and proud to have represented the Berea City School District. Thank you.
At this time, may I ask, please, for Mr. Leroy Mccreery and Tyler Kirks to come to the stage. Presenter Tyler Kirks is a senior involved in AVID, RYP, and a member of the SMART program. He helps out with student activities and illustrates many of the art projects around the school. He is an AP honors student, achieves honor roll, and student of the quarter in both English and AVID. Outside of school, Tyler works as a sales associate and participates in community service. Please welcome Tyler.
There you go. Good evening. I'm Tyler Kirks. I'm a senior here at Berea Mid-Park, and I will be speaking for Mr. Leroy Mccreery. So, it is with great pleasure that I introduce the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame inductee, Reverend Leroy Mccreery. Mccreery has been and remains a staple of hope and kindness and generosity and compassion in our community and beyond. Married for 50 years to the lovely wife, Elaine. He received his bachelor's from Cleveland State and master's degree from Case Western and Ashland Theological Seminary. Reverend Mccreery has served as the pastor of People's Community Church in Berea's, retiring after 34 years of faithful service, and is now honored there as pastor emeritus. If you're traveling down North Rocky River and Wesley Drive, you'll notice an honorary street sign that says Reverend Leroy Mccreery Way. This is another testament of how much Reverend Mccreery is loved and respected by his community. Additionally, Reverend Mccreery served a 2-year term as president of the International Council of Community Churches. He was employed as a human resources manager at NASA Glenn Research Center for 35.5 years. He was an elected member of the Berea Board of Education from 1979 to 1989. So, wow. Okay. He is a charter member of the Berea City Club. Reverend Mccreery served 16 years as a trustee at the Education Foundation of Berea City School District. His legacy of service continues as he serves as chairman of the Southwest Health Center Board from 2007 until 2013. Prior to his service as vice chair of the Southwest Community Health System, and upon retirement, he was given the title of chairman emeritus. Reverend Mccreery was awarded the Mighty Oak Award, which is the highest honor given by the Southwest Community Health System. He also received the City of Berea Grindstone Award in 2009. He is the founder and managing director of the North End Foundation of Berea Incorporated that provides summer jobs and work experience for Berea Mid-Park students. Lastly, this is very close to my heart. I'm an RYP student, and he is one of the co-founders of RYP, and it's really helped me during my high school career, like a lot. Freshman year, I was really terrible. It was really hard when I came to this district from the CMSD district. And when I joined RIP, it really helped get social, and I really found like a group of people I can connect with really well. So it's really an honor to induct. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd really like you to give a warm welcome to Reverend Leroy Mccreery.
attended Keith High School in Dallas County, Alabama. I'm from the community. That's what's a little different about me being here today. My advice to students now is to stay with your school, get all of the education that you can get, and even when it doesn't seem like it applies or that is relevant to hardly anything, keep on focusing, keep on learning. I think the real key to my success has been to stay focused on what I want in life. And my desire has always been to be good at whatever I decide to do and to be steadfast about it. So I think I think I've learned a few things that have really contributed to my success. I would say the first one is that when the going gets difficult, whether it's work or whether it's community involvement, school, whatever it is, press on. If it's one day, it's not a good day, think about tomorrow and just keep that in your mind. And that seems to have worked in my case all along. I think the other thing that has contributed to my success is when I have promised someone something, I do my level best to make sure I deliver. Not forget and say, oh, I'm sorry, but to deliver. The third one that I found very, very helpful is being timely. So if I'm asked to do something, I remember what my parents, my grandparents used to say to me, get up and do it now. Because if you don't do it now, you're going to forget to do it. And I have learned people really, really appreciate when you say you're going to do something, that you go and do it. That's been very helpful to me in my career. And then lastly, and perhaps most importantly, the building and the growing of relationships with people. I have found to establish relationships with people really contributes to getting things done that you cannot do by yourself. That is overall the thing that has helped me to be successful. I tried to take advantage of all of the ones that I thought would help me along the journey that I was on. So let me start with schooling. I took my schooling seriously right after high school. I was not as focused in high school as I had wanted to be. But what really helped me, I met a young man who had graduated and went off to a real prestigious university. And I worked with him one summer, and I learned of his desire to get a college education, and we would sit and we would take Reader's Digest word puzzles. And I was always challenged with the knowledge he had versus my knowledge. And he motivated me in ways I never thought I could be motivated to learn and to just grab knowledge. And I started from then on to pay attention to learning and to learning the value of acquiring knowledge. So from then on, I went on to college, Cleveland State University, and I graduated, and then I was offered a scholarship at Case Western Reserve University, a wonderful school. I obtained my master's there. After that, I took the opportunity to go to Ashland Theological Seminary because I felt a calling, and obtained a master's degree from Ashland. Those were opportunities for learning, and I really took advantage of each one of them. But the one that probably determined my long-term career was NASA Glenn Research Center, located here on the west side of Cleveland, near Hopkins International Airport. Had a job that you had to take an exam to obtain the job. if you passed the exam, you had an opportunity to come aboard at NASA Glenn, and it was called the Federal Service Entrance Exam. They referred to it as the FC exam, FC, Federal Service Entrance Exam. I took that exam, I passed it. I was hired at NASA Glenn Research Center in 1965, and I worked there until I retired 37 and a half years later. And it was such a wonderful experience for me that I never looked for another job from the time I started that job and stayed there. That really is what determined my career, because I worked there until I retired. I retired with a good pension. I met a lot of good people, and that place has some of the most awesome people. And I say that because anything you wanted to know, somebody worked there who could tell you your answer. And that was a cool, cool thing, and I always appreciated that. I think the most important achievement for obtaining my dream has been just working in the community. I don't know if you know this, but I was offered the opportunity to serve on the Berea Board of Education back in 1979. There was a person I remember by the name of George Colasaw. He had served on the Board of Education, and when he resigned 2 years into his term, I, along with some other folks, competed by turning in our applications to serve on the board. The board selected me to serve out his 2-year term, and I did. And at the end of the 2 years, I had to run for election to the Board of Education. That required a full-up campaign. So I had a good number of people here in the community that I had established relationships with. They came alongside me, we put on a campaign, and I was elected to a 4-year term to serve on the board here in this community representing Brook Park, Berea, and Middleburg Heights. After that, I had to run for election for another 4 years, which was not any fun, by the way, but I did it. And again, the wonderful people here in these 3 communities elected me again. So I served another 4 years. So I did a total of 10 years, 1 decade. And it was a wonderful way of obtaining my dreams and my aspirations, because I really wanted to be involved in the community. And I saw no community, I heard of no community that I felt more comfortable with than right here in the city of Berea. I think mine came internally. I just felt that I was more comfortable with doing things with other folks to benefit the larger part of mankind. And I saw that in doing my community work. I'm not really sure how that got started in me as terms of a germ or a seed. I can't really point to any particular person that might have ignited that kind of desire. But once I had begun to do it, I found myself wanting to continue along that path. But I think the other thing that might have helped, there were, along the way, many people who said, "We think you can help us. Will you serve? Will you give it an opportunity and see what you think of it?" And I don't think there have been many things that I have started into doing that I haven't liked, if it had the flavor of giving back or doing something to help the community. So when I was asked, I did. And the benefits from having done it always were so good that I felt it was worthy of my time, my energy, and my experience. So I think that was kind of what got it going and kept it going. Once it got ignited, that interest in the community and doing things just kept going. So here now, after about 45 years, I look back and I say that all of those things contributed to my achievements, my aspirations, and my dreams. And it was a good journey. Truly, truly appreciated every bit of it. I am particularly pleased that this community, and starting with this induction committee, chose me for this honor because I'm not a graduate of Berea school system. And yet, they had included in their process of inducting people into the Hall of Fame those who had served in the community. And they saw what I had done and chose me for this recognition. And I feel so deeply honored. And I did not even know this, even though I had served on the Board of Education for 10 years. I did not know that they could select someone to be inducted into the Berea Hall of Fame who was not even a graduate of the school and couldn't say it. And by the way, I really wished I had been able to say I graduated from Berea High School. It's such a fine, fine high school. So I'm very pleased and honored today to be a part of a wonderful group of people. I just saw the historical journey of those who had been selected on the kiosk down the hall there. And I look back at that history and I see a lot of people I've known. And to be a part of those people in the Hall of Fame really gives me great joy. So that's what I will share as being the extra thing I'll add to this interview today. Well, good evening. I just want to start with saying thank you, Tyler, and such a nice job. I'm so proud of this young man. He's been hanging with me all day. I hope you haven't tired of me yet. We had a real nice lunch together today up at the Crown Plaza, and he interviewed me. We broke bread together. He was engaging, and I just had, Tyler, such a wonderful time talking with you. And the part he mentioned at the end about coming to this school and having to make a transition from the community he was in, from old Brooklyn, coming here, and what a challenge it was. And then to find there was a resource here that helped to acclimate him to our district. I think it's so critically important. And I, here again, want to just commend this wonderful school system for just keep pushing to do things like that. I mean, just to have you come up and share that with us and to see you here today and spend time with me. And I think you got a bright future ahead of you. And I want to, you've heard all these wonderful things today that these successful people have shared. Let that be a motivator. I mean, I think that can be, sometimes we don't know how we shared our light. But sometimes just the testimony that was given here today might be the spark that might send you on your way. So I just want to say good luck to you, and I'm so glad I met you. I want to thank Almighty God for this opportunity to be here with you tonight. Truly, truly, I've had a blessing, and I have to say it, and I want to say it because I really have, I feel, truly been blessed over the years, and especially to come to this school system here in Berea. And could have gone here, there, and thither, but for some reason, and I think it was a good reason, I ended up right here in Berea City School District, and I certainly cannot think of a better place for me to have landed in terms of my future than here. So I thank God for that. Also, as Mrs. Gorsland said, I want to thank Christina. Where's Christina? Is she here? Oh, she's all the way in the back. Christina, I want to thank you because of your perseverance. I know with the roller coaster pandemic that we went through at one time, it felt frustrating. I wasn't sure we would be able to pull this off, and I really wanted this to happen. I mean, I kept saying, I hope this thing gets on out the way so I can go on over there and get into the Hall of Fame. I wanted that to happen, so I thank God that this thing settled down this year. I had it on my radar. I really did. It was such an honor. So thank you for your very hard work. I want to thank the committee. Quite frankly, I did not know anything about the committee in terms of the names of the people on the committee. I don't know the person who brought my name up from the beginning, but from the time that I learned that I was a nominee, I have been thanking that person, although I have no idea who that person is. And I didn't know the names of the committee until I had started to learn them today, but I want to say to the committee from the bottom of my heart, I sincerely thank you for this honor and for choosing me to be included with some wonderful, wonderful people. I want to thank my wife, my honey of 52 plus years, Elaine. We've been good friends. We've gone through a lot, but we've had a good life together, and she's here tonight to still push me on and to celebrate things that I have done. So, and my daughters, both of whom graduated from Berea. And by the way, again, thank you for educating my daughters, who both have gone on and gotten good jobs and making good money, and I'm just so thankful for that. I truly am. My granddaughter, who's attending here now, so it's been very good for us. I want to spend my time, the rest of my time, sharing 3 reasons that this recognition means so much to me. And I only limit it to 3 because I don't want to take too much time. Many others, but 3 of them. And the first one is the staff here at, over the years that I've been associated with this school. Have any of you been around long enough to remember J.R. Andrews Sack, who was the superintendent of the Berea? All right. Well, let me tell you, my goodness, you know, what a guy. You know, J.R. Andrews Sack was a superintendent. I served on the board at the time that he was superintendent, and boy, you know, a Marine Corps guy. I mean, he was up running in the morning. I remember I ran a race with him here in Berea, and we went, I think it was then, and then we went out into the Metro Park, and we were running side by side, and when we got back and they were asking about our timing and how we had done, and I remember Dick saying, well, you know, I would have done better, but this guy here was elbowing me all the way. He really was quite a competitor, but the school loved him. And I found out how much they loved him when we tried to replace him with another superintendent, and found out he couldn't be a Dick Andrewsack, and he didn't last long. But he was just a wonderful, wonderful guy. And then I think about there's a guy, Dr. Dean Kelly. I believe he was the head of the curriculum. I think of Neil and Lynn Heshey, part of his leadership team back then. Then I think of all of the wonderful groups such as the principals, the teachers, bus drivers, custodians, students, cafeteria workers, coaches, and many, many others. All of these were wonderful people. I got to serve and to learn from these people. These were wonderful people who went through this school system, and quite frankly, it's probably the reason we are here today. It was that kind of service, the dreams, the aspirations that they had. So that's the first reason. A wonderful, wonderful staff, and I think you still have good people here, and that's why things are working well. The second is the reason I'm so proud for this honor is the opportunity I had to serve on the Board of Education. When I was on the board, Dr. Ed White was the president. Pete Tolson, he worked over at Ford, a wonderful guy, he and Sally. Audrey Smear, Evelyn Wilden, Eileen, Harold, Kathy, Chapman, and we just had wonderful times. When we would travel around to try to find new people for the district, we would travel in Kathy Chapman's van, and Pete Tolson and I would lead the group in singing hymns as we would travel from one part of one city from here down to parts of Columbus to do searches. And I had such a wonderful time with that group. I learned so much. I learned how dedicated these board members were. They gave a lot of their time, and probably like you all are doing today who serve. We had our challenges back then with the moral majority. I still remember that. I thought I was a part of the moral majority. But once I learned that their plan was a little different than ours, I had to find some other hole to go into, really. But those were the challenges we were facing back at that time. The third reason that this award means so much to me is that this is an awesome community, Brook Park, Berea, Brook Park, and Middleburg Heights. I didn't graduate from Berea High. And that's why this is so special to me. I graduated from Keith High School in Dallas County, Alabama, not far from Selma. I grew up in a little town by the name of Safford, Safford, as Fred Sanford would say. And I had to travel on the bus about 15 to 20 miles to get to my school. And then when school was out, we hopped on the bus and went back home. And that was it in terms of my connection to the school. So I never had a real high school alumni relationship. I got it here, though. That's why this is so. And you know, I got to tell you, because I did not know this. I did not know that someone who had not graduated from Berea High School could, in fact, be inducted into the Distinguished Hall of Fame. And I said, what a wonderful thing. Whoever thought of that? You know, I mean, and not just for me, but certainly in this case, I was one that was so honored that despite the fact I came from a different path, a different community, different school, and yet you included me because of my community service, and to say you can be part of us as well, that's really special to me. And I want to just say a tip of the hat to the committee and the wisdom, at least in my view, the wisdom that goes back to when that decision was made. And what else was special about this community, there was a vacancy that occurred in 1979 on the school board as a guy, and I didn't know him, but they told me there was a guy on the board by the name of George Colasar who had served 2 years and he resigned for some reason, and they had a vacancy they needed to fill, and the board had the power to select the person whom they wanted to based on them submitting their applications. And people in my community up on the north end said, we've not had a black on the Board of Education, would you submit your papers? And they were kind of like the leadership up on the north end. So I submitted my papers, and the board made the selection that they would have me complete the 2-year, they call it a 2-year unexpired term. So they said, we can have the power to make that selection. So they selected me, and I served. And at the end of the 2 years, I had to run for a 4-year term. And I did. I was glad to. Oh, I had gotten in there, and I was working as a board member, and I was meeting all these teachers. I was handing out diplomas, and boy, I tell you, I was a happy guy to stand up there and said that people I knew in the community would come up to get their diplomas, and I would hand it to them. Oh, I felt so wonderful about that. So I ran to serve on the board, and one of the campaign managers came to me and he said, now, a lot of folks don't know you out here, and particularly in Brook Park. And what we want to do, they took a green card about that size, and they said, we're going to take your name, Mccreery, which is it's an Irish name. We're going to take your name, and then they put on that card that I had attended school at these different places, that I worked at NASA, that I had done community service, and they said, we're going to send this card all around, but the one thing we're not going to do, we're not going to put your face on it. And they said what they said to me, and just listen to us, you know, that some of these people, if they don't know you and they see your credentials and you got the name Mccreery and we got a green card, you're going to get in. So they made up all these cards and they sent them through Brook Park, Middleburg Heights, and Berea. And as a guy that I work with out at NASA, one day he walked up to me and he said, some folks don't know who you are. And this card that they're circulating, they don't really know you, but I know who you are. Well, I kind of said, well, I'm just doing what my committee told me to do. Well, I ran successfully for that first 4-year term. Then, at the end of that, I chose to run again, and I want to thank this community. They selected me again. I served two 4-year terms, and then 2 unexpired years of the position that the board member vacated. So this community has truly been just wonderful to me and to my family. And I want to say this is a dynamite community in every way I can think of it. And I want to conclude my remarks by, I just want to share with you some of the community organizations that have been so special to me in this community, and the reason that I've had such a good life here. I'll start with my church. I pastored 43 years in the same location in this community with some loving, sweet, kind, compassionate Christian people. And I was blessed. I truly say I was blessed with some wonderful. I had a lady, and I'll just share this because some people, I think it was the first speaker, talked about relationships. Her name was Mother Laura Dozier. Her husband built a home. They lived over on 2nd Avenue here in Berea. But she was a mother that was a mother to me up to the time I think up until the time I retired. Mother was with me, and she was such a wonderful, wonderful person. It was that community. And I want to just certify about the relationships. If you don't get that right, in my view, nothing is going to go right. You can't solve nothing unless you get that right up front. And that's what happened with me and my church family. The North End Foundation, where we provide summer jobs to students during the summer. We don't want kids to not have money for prom and for graduation and things. And they told me when I used to come over here for the RYP, they didn't have money. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to lend you some money, but give me my money back. You get a job, give them my money back. And some of it I got back, some of it I said, okay, that's just for a donation. But thank God they got some summer jobs now and they're making money that they can go to prom and do things. The Berea City Club, that's a nonprofit that never stops giving to the citizens of Berea. I am so proud that Stan Trupo, when he organized the Berea City Club, came to me and said, Rev, I want you to serve on the Berea City Club. And I did, and I've been there ever since. And it's been Jack Draves, I saw him, he's the president, but that's a wonderful group in this town, folks. Believe me, I just love what they do. Southwest General Health Center, they are serious about these students being healthy. Ohio Guidestone, right, almost contiguous to your property here. These folks help students in their darkest hours. The Education Foundation of Berea, Susan Hans, and she leads that group. They're doing wonderful work to provide scholarships to these students, particularly the brightest and the best. And last but not least, Realizing Your Potential, that's headed here by Susan Malone. So let me conclude this way. I want to say that this high school is awesome. Since I live so close here, I used to, when the old one was over there, I used to hear the bells ringing from my bedroom across the street. Now it is so high tech, and I don't know whether I just can't hear good or so high tech that the bells don't ring like they used to, but I don't hear the bells no more. But I want to tell you that that's all right because I'm just very, very, very glad with this awesome facility that we have right here in Berea. And I have longed for the day that I would be able to see what this area where I used to jog on that beaten path, no pavement, just a beaten path around here for many years. And now to see this wonderful school here, I am so satisfied. And my prayer is that the bells will ring here for a long, long time to come. Thank you all for a wonderful, wonderful evening. All right, buddy. Thank you. All right.
Our next presenter is McAllister Thomas. McAllister is a senior involved in band, orchestra, choir, GSA, and drama club. McAllister has won the Outstanding Leadership Award, has obtained first, second, and third academic pins, serves on the Senior Executive Board, and is a member of Girl Scouts. Please welcome McAllister.
Good evening. So today I have the honor of introducing Mr. Chuck Richie. He's an alumni of Berea High School who went to go do great things in the world of theater. After graduating from Berea in '65, Chuck went to Denison for his bachelor's in the theater arts. After that, he had a theatrical training in London. Chuck has been performing since he was little, starting with theatrical productions in school. Through his acting career, he has performed in hundreds of shows internationally and locally with the Playhouse Square. Chuck also has a history of teaching. He taught theater and voice at Kent State for many years. Currently, he is a coach for the Great Lakes Theater. Chuck and his wife enjoy travel with notable destinations of New York, Scotland, and even South Africa for professional experience. Though Chuck's years of performing and teaching, he has played a wide variety of characters. From the Ghost of Christmas Present to Edna, the mother from Hairspray, Chuck has been dazzling audiences with every role. Chuck has made an impact on many of his students, some of which went on to be Tony and Oscar winners. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I wish to present this plaque on behalf of the Berea City School District to Mr. Chuck Richie, a distinguished honorary alumnus of Berea High School, to be officially inducted into the Berea Mid-Park High School Alumni Hall of Fame.
graduated in the class of 65 from Berea High School. What advice would I give students now? I think just be prepared for the unexpected in life. I ended up in theater, and I did a lot of theater at the high school, but my career went in different directions than I thought it might. I ended up also teaching at Kent State University and doing other things along the way. So I definitely would say prepare for what life hands you, and if you find something that you're passionate about, stick with it and pursue it. The experiences that led me to my current success are what I just talked about. We had a great drama teacher, a couple drama teachers. We had a great program at the time. We did really difficult plays and musicals, and that really inspired me to continue on into college and then advanced training after that, and then head out into becoming a professional actor. So it really did start at Berea High School. The opportunities I took advantage of were definitely the theater things that were offered, but it was just a great class, and there were lots of things that we could do, other activities. So I just think I just have a lot of good memories of being active and supporting, athletics and academics, and I think I was involved in some kind of a club that was I would say that they were probably would be called nerds now, but it was more about math and science stuff, even though I wasn't a big guy into that, but some of my friends were. So anyway, those were some of the things that I took advantage of. The experiences I would say that have inspired me were what I talked about here at Berea High School, or at the old high school. And then just having a love for the arts in general. My mother would take me to the art museum in Cleveland when I was a kid, and so I think I just really loved that. And when I got a chance to pursue acting and go to New York, of course I would go to Broadway shows, which were always inspiring to pursue and continue in my work. So there's been lots of inspirations, studying abroad, and other things like that. Wow. I found my passion, I think, by doing it. I got in a play when I was in elementary school, really bad, like operetta, but I liked it. I liked being out there, and that just continued, and I've never looked back from that moment. I think if there was anything I would add, I would just say thank you to Berea High and to all the teachers I had and my fellow students, and they gave me 3 of the most significant years of my life that I look back on very fondly, and so it's just thank you.
Thank you, McAllister. You really are a delight, and it was great to spend time with you, with Deirdre and myself at lunch. You're just so engaging and funny, and I know that you're going to really do well. And by the way, the 3 schools that she's applied to are going to give her a full ride, I think, right? Well, not all 3, yes. Right. Maybe BW will, but yes, that tells you something. First of all, I want to thank the Berea City School District and the Hall of Fame Committee, Dennis Kushlak, and the Alumni Associations of Berea and Mid-Park High Schools, and the, especially, has been mentioned, Christina Capretta. She was our lifeline, keeping us all connected during the extended delay of these ceremonies. And I'm so humbly thankful to be here for this recognition. And thank you, Berea High School, for 3 of the most significant years of my life. Thank you, Mrs. Janney, You were the first real theater person I met. You understood and taught all aspects of live performance and directed our productions. You set tough, some would say rigid, standards for on and off stage behavior, which I know now were lessons in the principles of professional theater practice. Thank you, Miss Abakir, for bringing your own gentler style and your passion for performance. From you, I found my love for acting as an art and not just a craft. Thanks, BHS, for that wonderful stage in the old auditorium where I found I not only enjoyed being on its boards, I felt at home out there. I gained confidence and learned to act by doing it, playing roles in challenging plays like The Lady's Not for Burning, The Crucible, and The Jacaranda Tree. And Finian's Rainbow. What can I say? It was then and remains still one of my favorite theatrical experiences ever. One of those rare and magical occasions in the theater where it all came together. A great musical, wonderful characters, super cast of my fellow students, several are here tonight. Outstanding stage and music direction, beautiful set, costumes, it all worked. Wow. But playing a character like Finian is the best role you can get, I found out, because you are supporting the other actors. Thank you, Berea High School, for helping me understand that my joy is when I know I have helped others to grow and thrive. Their success is my success, and I get to be all these sidekicks, best friends, scheming Irishmen, concerned neighbors, doting nurses, wacky mothers, innumerable, unique, quirky, wonderful people in hundreds of jobs on dozens and dozens of stages for 48 years in the profession, in show business, or the business for short. And then how lucky I am to support countless actors as a coach in voice and dialects. And thank you, Ruth Kerr and Helen Somerville. You introduced me and gave me the foundation in English literature, especially Shakespeare. Reading aloud passages from Romeo and Juliet and Julius Caesar in class ignited a passion for the bard and led to my pursuing classical performance training in England at one of the best acting conservatories in the world. Ralph Hilty in music, Howard Dolmage in history, and especially Dorothea Robinson, who shared her love and passion for Latin and classical literature, and Shirley Llewellyn, who awakened and nurtured a talent in visual art. Thank you for providing the best role models of true educators when I had the good fortune to step in the classroom myself at Kent State University, where I taught for 20 years voice and speech and acting to young developing artists who sought to pursue a path in performance. Thank you, BHS, for your students who are my fellow actors in shows, my classmates, and my friends. Amazingly, a lot of them are here tonight. How blessed am I to have Tom and Corky, Rick and Diane, Barb, Lana Lee, as well as from long distance, Judy Schwensfire Glenn, who was gracious enough to nominate me, and wonderful Sue Bilton Bauer. And Dee, most of all, I thank Berea High School for the chance to nurture you as an acquaintance from junior high, then my good friend, my best friend, lover, soulmate, and the center of my life. Thagul Agam Osh. How special the class of '65 was and is, filled with outstanding scholars, athletes, writers, math and science wizards, okay, nerds, although we didn't know it, that was what to call it back then, and many, many more. And as happens, and after so many years, we have lost a number of our members. Just recently, George Behrens and Corley Gillette. Rest in peace, all. Another BHS alum wasn't in our class, but had a truly major impact on my life. Mike Tebelak. Although younger, he was miles ahead of me as a theater practitioner. The hot Julys and Augusts we spent in the old converted barracks housing Berea Summer Theater, building sets, making props, appearing in shows, made theater the path we both knew we had to take. Gone too soon, my friend, but I know you're up there directing another production of Godspell with the angels. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. Shakespeare's profound metaphor for human existence, but a reality of the 57 years I have lived since my graduation. In Hamlet, Polonius sends his son Laertes off to college in a famous speech filled with lots of practical homespun advice, but then he profoundly concludes, "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man." Berea High School, my teachers, my fellow students, you have all given me the gift of finding and being true to myself. Thank you.
Would Mr. Vale and Brooke Bechdel please take the stage at this time? Our next honoree will be inducted posthumously. Here to introduce the family of our next honoree is Brooke Bechdel. Brooke is a junior whose list of things she isn't involved in is probably shorter than the list of things she is involved in. Brooke is on the varsity cross-country team, indoor and outdoor track teams, and speech and debate team. She's a member of Southwest Conference Student Summit, a student athletic leadership team member, a member of the Portrait of a Titan design team, a member of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council, and a member of Realizing Your Potential. In addition to being a student council member and link leader, she is also a National Honor Society member, a Spanish Honor Society member, and has achieved magna cum laude for 3 years. She has also received the Alpha Kappa Alpha Salute to Excellence Award. Please welcome Brooke.
Good evening. My name is Brooke Bechdel, and I'm honored to be a student presenter for the Berea City School District's Alumni Hall of Fame. Tonight, I will be sharing the accomplishments of the late Richard Vale. Richard Vale grew up in a northwest Indiana farm county. After serving in World War II in the U.S. Navy Pacific Arena, he married Georgiana Hott, the sister of one of his Navy comrades. Vale graduated from Baldwin Wallace College with a secondary teaching certificate in science before becoming a science teacher at the Berea High School. He then moved on to the assistant principal position at Rame Junior High School before serving as principal of Central School. During his time at Central, he oversaw the construction of Ford Junior High School and served as the principal when it opened in 1961, replacing Central. Ford is something Richard Vale and I share in common, as he opened Ford and I am part of one of the last classes to attend Ford prior to its closing. Having accomplished so much during his years in the Berea schools, he held many distinguished positions, such as regional representative, state representative, and national officer of the North Central Association of Schools. Outside of Richard Vale's accomplishments within the school district, he had a busy life as a dad and community member. Richard Vale had 4 children, all of whom graduated from college with teaching degrees. He also played an active role as a Bible studies teacher at the United Methodist Church in Berea. Richard Vale lived a full life and left behind an impressive legacy in education worthy of this distinct honor. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I wish to present this plaque on behalf of the Berea City School District to Mr. David Vale on behalf of Mr. Richard Vale, a distinguished alumnus, to be officially inducted into the Berea City School District Alumni Hall of Fame.
What I would would say that as you work your way through high school, think about your future and think about planning ahead in terms of what you want to do in terms of college credits, perhaps, thinking about careers or attending the Career Center at Polaris, because a part of high school is dreaming about what comes after high school. But I also want students to have a good time while they're here, collaborate with each other, get involved in clubs, organizations, and sports, and just learn as much as you can. I think that the key for me was the fact that we had a very collaborative group of students when I attended the old Berea High School. One of the best stories there is I met my wife there, and she was a class behind me. So I not only had a great group of friends in my senior class, but also a great group of friends from her class as well. And we continued to meet and do things together, be involved, talk about academics. I even used to help my wife with her math homework and things like that. But that's just the way we were. We were a group that were very close with each other and went on to different colleges and things like that, but still stayed in touch. And I think just having those relationships, having those supports were an important factor no matter where we went to school. I chose to go to Ohio State, a huge school, and others went to small schools, but we still stayed in touch, and that was very, very neat. The opportunities that I take advantage of for right now is the fact that I was actually not only a student in the Berea City School District, but my father, who we're honoring tonight, was a principal in the school district, and I kind of followed in his footsteps to become not only a teacher in the Berea City School District, but I was administrator as well, assistant principal at Big Creek, principal at Brook Park Memorial for years. And then I went on to a career working for Cleveland State for 21 years in the graduate program on evenings and weekends. I'm in my 22nd year at Ball and Wallace. So I was able to take all those experiences and my dedication to teaching into the fact that now I'm working with students that plan to be teachers someday, or working with teachers that plan to be principals someday in the graduate programs. And I can take all those diverse experiences that I've had and share those experiences with them. For me, it's kind of neat because I'm a professor at a college, but I haven't been a professor my whole career. I can share them stories all the way through all the different experiences I've had, and my students really appreciate that. The experiences that probably matter the most is the fact that I just absolutely love working with other, not only my students, but my colleagues. And I think that probably the inspiration that is most important to me is that I know that I'm making a difference in the lives of others. And so when I go to class, I'm someone who loves to go to work. I love to go to school every day. I love to see my students and be with them. I go to their sporting events. I went to a softball game yesterday. I went to a volleyball game yesterday over at Ball and Walls. And so I think those experiences of getting to know my students getting to know me, and the fact that we work so well together is an inspiration. But it all comes from being a teacher and having good relationships with your students, and then knowing that you're making a difference in their lives because you know what interests they have, and particularly you know what dreams they have. I think it became, from a very young age, having a father who was an administrator, but actually I went to Ohio State and I was an education major at the beginning. So the passion came from the fact that I volunteered to work at a local school, and they were looking for Ohio State students that were willing to help out. So I ended up going to that school on a number of occasions. It was very close to campus. I had a car, and I started working with the students, and I used to help them with their homework. I used to go out in the playground with them or to their gym or art classes. But one day, one of the fourth grade teachers got ill, and they didn't have time to get a substitute, and they had no one to teach that class for the afternoon. So they asked me if I would be willing to stay with those fourth graders, teach a math lesson or something with them, and we ended up having a blast all afternoon. And as I drove home that day, I said to myself, I'm changing my major. I'm going to be a teacher. I'd just like to add that I am so appreciative of everybody that's involved with this Hall of Fame program, and the inspiration they've been, and the fact that we are taking the time to honor others that dedicated their lives to teaching and the teaching profession is an important thing. And we've been blessed in this school district to have so many wonderful employees and people who work for the school district and are dedicated to the school district. And so this entire process, as we select people for this Hall of Fame, is something that I hope just goes on for years and years. Good evening, everyone. Anyone who knew my father knows that he loved to play games. And so we're going to conclude tonight by Brooke and I working together. We're going to ask you 10 questions about what you either read in your program or you just heard Brooke say. So close your programs, huddle up because you can help each other, and see how many points you can earn in what we call the Vale Jeopardy Challenge. Here we go. Question number 1. Both our father, Richard, and our mother, Georgiana, grew up in a city in northwest Indiana, as you heard, made famous in the movie The Music Man. Name that city. Okay, no, wait, no, don't say it out loud. Say it to each other. Say it to each other. See if you can get it. Earn your first point. All right, Brooke, what do you got?
Gary, Indiana.
Yes? All right, good. Now, keep track. Someone in your group needs to keep track of how many points, because obviously we have to play Final Jeopardy, so keep that in mind. All right. Our next question. Our father served in the Pacific Theater during World War II. Name the branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in which our father served. Shouldn't be too bad. All right. What do you got?
The U.S. Navy.
Makes sense. The Pacific Realm. That's correct. For your next point, a Navy comrade, turning out eventually to be my uncle, introduced our father to our mom. They dated and got married, then moved to Berea so my father could benefit from the GI Bill. At what local college? Wait. Come on, they're laughing at us. Give it to them.
Baldwin Wallace.
I bet you didn't get that one, probably, you know? Okay. All right. After earning his teaching license, our father went on to graduate school to obtain his principal's license. His first assignment as a principal was at what school, a site where the BW tennis courts are located right now? I'll give you a hint. It's on Center Street. The answer?
Center School.
Boy, isn't she smart? Oh, God. In 1961, our father became the principal of what new school located at 17001 Holland Road in Brook Park? What was the name of that school? The answer?
Ford Junior High.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Our father was famous for holding staff meetings on the back porch of our house on Lewis Drive. To attend, you had to know how to play what card game? I'll give you a hint. It didn't have 52 cards, so it's not poker. Name the game. What card game? I'll give you a hint. It had 48 cards. The answer? Pinochle.
Pinnacle? Pinnacle.
Pinochle. You remember? Yeah, 9 through aces, and, you know, they'd smoke their pipes and solve the world's problems back there. Our father was known for driving his Volkswagen Beetle Bug to school, but many people don't know for a few years he drove what sports car to work? Think about it. Think about it. Think where he was working. What was the name of that sports car?
A Ford Mustang.
Got it? Okay. I drove one here tonight. I still have a Ford Mustang. With school enrollment topping 2,000, our father introduced a concept of a school within a school, dividing the large school into smaller sections. What were these parts or sections of the building known as? The answer, what is?
The North and South Campus.
Yes? Somebody? When they converted to the middle school, they called them houses, House A, House B, House C, but originally they were the campuses. Our father worked year-round except for weekend camping trips and eventually trips in the family RV motorhome. He spent every summer, though, working at school on a special project to prepare for the next school year. What project took so much time? They had to put chalkboards all over the office area to put this up on the board because there was no Excel programs and things like that. What took all summer to create? The answer?
The module schedule for staff and students.
Developing the schedule. In fact, because I printed very neatly and because I could print really small, I had to copy every time frame, every module, every class for the entire student body and for all of the staff because we had to send it down to ODE for their approval. So that was kind of an exciting thing that I got to do. But he was so famous for the module creation for schedules, the master schedule, that actually Ashland College and Ball and Wallace College hired him to teach in their graduate school leadership programs to teach other school leadership candidates how to do it. Our father was an active member and president of what National Accreditation Association for high schools and junior high schools across 19 states through northern and central United States. What was the name of this organization? The answer?
North Central.
Duh. Hi, Chase. Okay, now you got the total number of points your team has earned? Now, how much of it are you willing to risk? On our final Jeopardy question, here we go. Final Jeopardy. Name all 4 schools that have been located at 17001 Holland Road. I need 4 names. I'm going to do that one. So here we are. Brooke?
Ford Junior High.
Check.
Ford Middle School.
Check.
Ford Intermediate School.
Check. And?
Brook Park Elementary.
All right. A perfect score would have been 20. How did you do? I'd like to thank my family for being here tonight. My wife, Joni, my siblings are here. Surprising me, and I didn't even notice, my daughters came and my grandchildren. That was Chase that said hi. How are you guys doing back there? I want to particularly thank Christina. You've heard that several times, but also for Karen Rohde for taking over for Bela Molnar. Bela was the person most instrumental in my father winning this award, and I will never forget that. And finally, I'd like to thank this amazing young lady who spent an hour and a half talking with me at lunch today. Would you join me in congratulating Brooke? Thank you so much.
Please join me in, first of all, our student presenters. Please stand. Please stand, student presenters. We're going to big round of applause. Thank you. You were outstanding. We're very, very proud of you and thankful for your help tonight. I'd like to ask all the honorees to come forward now for a group picture. So honorees, please bring forward the plaques and position yourselves in front of the Berea Mid-Park High School banner. And join us together here in celebrating the 2022 inductees of the Berea City Schools District's Distinguished Hall of Fame. We'll all join together in a round of applause once you all assemble here. You may come forward and take any photos if you like. This is a big prime opportunity. Please join me in celebrating the 2022 inductees of the Berea City School District's Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. We thank everyone for celebrating with us tonight. Good night. Best wishes to all always. Thank you.